Okay. Okay, so like I mentioned last week, so today we are going into chapter 9, which is cost accounting techniques. Good, rasanya lah. Okay, so what we are going to do today is a chapter or a topic on absorption and marginal costing. Okay, absorption costing and marginal costing. Right. So you should have already grabbed your ni lah, apa tu, you punya notes dalam you punya Moodle. Kenapa tak boleh? Sekejap saya share screen tapi tak jadi pula. Oh, okay. Alright. So we are going into chapter 9, which is cost accounting techniques. And today we are going to do a topic on absorption and marginal costing system, or absorption and marginal costing is also sometimes known as variable costing. Alright, so the objective, okay, so the learning objective for this topic is for us to understand marginal costing, okay, for us to know what is contribution. Alright, and there will be a valuation, there will be an issue in stock valuation or valuing your stock or your inventory using marginal costing and absorption costing, where the stock valuation will be different under both methods lah. Okay, and we also will prepare multi-period statement using both absorption costing and marginal costing. Multi-period bermaksud beberapa tempoh lah. Okay, multi-periods. Alright, so let's look into what is absorption costing. Alright, so absorption costing is the procedure which charges fixed production overhead as well as variable production overhead to the cost object. Okay, that is the product. Alright, so you are going to charge fixed production overhead as well as variable production overhead to the cost object. So we are going to absorb, right? Absorption costing, so we are going to absorb. So fixed production overheads and variable production overhead are apportioned to the products, and these are included in inventory valuation. So when you are going to value your inventory, or you are going to do your inventory valuation, you will include both the fixed production overhead and the variable production overhead. Okay, so there is no distinction is made between the fixed production overhead and variable production overhead cost. Tidak ada sebarang perbezaan lah. Maksudnya you tambahkan both. Okay, your fixed and your variable. Okay, in absorption costing, alright, in this part, the closing inventory is valued at full production cost. Okay, so you will include all your production costs, or your total cost, which is your direct material, your direct labor, your variable production overhead. Okay, direct material and direct labor is of course your variable cost lah, right? And then you include your variable production overhead or variable manufacturing overhead, and then you will absorb your fixed production overhead. Okay, the budgeted fixed overhead absorption rate is calculated by dividing the budgeted overhead by the budgeted or normal activity. Yang ini untuk kita dapatkan production overhead per unit lah. Alright, you just take the total of the production overhead and then you will apa tu, you will divide with the budgeted or the normal activity. Okay. So full production cost, sampai bawah ke? Alright. So full production cost is your variable production cost plus with your fixed production overhead. Okay. Where your variable production cost is your direct material plus with your direct labor plus with your variable production overhead. Okay, itu yang dia kata variable and fixed tadi, variable production cost and fixed production overhead. So in short, your absorption cost is your direct material plus with your direct labor plus with your variable production overhead and plus with your fixed production overhead. Alright, because your variable production cost consists of your direct materials, direct labor and variable production overheads. Alright, yang ini macam kita nak kira the total cost lah, direct material plus with your direct labor plus with your variable manufacturing overhead. Okay, in this situation dia panggil sebagai variable or fixed production overheads. Alright, mungkin you biasa dengar variable and fixed manufacturing overhead. Whereas itu adalah dua benda yang sama lah. Okay. Right, so you have your direct materials plus with your direct labor plus with your variable production overhead, you dapat variable production cost, and then you will add with your fixed production overhead, where you will get your full production cost ataupun total production cost. This is for absorption costing. Okay. The objective of absorption costing is to include in the total cost of a product. Okay, itu objektif dia lah, absorb kan. So to include in the total cost of a product and appropriate share of the organization's total production overhead. Itu objektif dia. Alright, to include the total cost, to include in the total cost of a product the total production overhead. Fixed production overhead are absorbed on the basis of normal activity, which is often the same as budgeted capacity. Right, ni dia nak bagi tahu je lah. Okay, fixed production overhead are absorbed on the basis of normal activity. Normal activity selalunya juga adalah sama dengan you punya budgeted capacity. Okay, yang you budget selalunya itulah yang normal yang berlaku. Where actual production level is not equal in the normal capacity, okay, normal and budgeted usually the same. However, your actual production might be different. Okay, your actual production maksudnya capacity you punya production, contohnya you can produce 10,000 units per month. That is your capacity, the normal capacity or the budgeted capacity. However, your actual capacity for that month, okay, might not be the same lah, might not be 10,000, might be 9,000, might be 7,000, macam tu. Alright, so bila ada when the actual production is not equal with the normal or the budgeted capacity, they will be under or over absorb of fixed production overhead. Alright, so bila ini berlaku, you akan ada over or under absorb of fixed production overhead. Okay, this over and under absorb you have to take into consideration when you are calculating in your income statement or your profit statement, where you have to include before you can arrive to the net income. Okay, nanti you akan tengok sama ada the fixed production overhead dia adalah over absorb atau under absorb. You kena include that one in the statement and then barulah you boleh dapat you punya net income. Okay, so the theoretical justification for using absorption costing is that all production overhead are incurred in the production of the organization's output, and so each unit of the product receives some benefit from this cost. Each unit of output should therefore be charged with some of the total overhead cost. Okay, kenapa kita nak kita nak absorb fixed production overhead ni sebabnya itu adalah production cost. Walaupun dia fixed, okay, tapi itu adalah production cost. So secara logiknya, okay, that cost should be charged, right, to the product. So that is why itu justification yang diberikan kenapa nak guna absorption costing. Okay, the practical reasons for using absorption costing have traditionally been identified as follows. Okay, for inventory valuation, okay, and for income measurement. Alright, for inventory valuation and for income measurement. Inventory, you must know your inventory or your stock must be valued. Okay, must be valued. Okay, because one, for you to calculate the closing inventory in the balance sheet, okay, and for you to calculate the cost of sales or cost of goods sold in the profit and loss account. Because inventory or your stock diambil kira both in your SOCI and your SOFP. Right? So you have to value your inventory dekat situ before you can arrive to your net income, which will affect your balance sheet, okay, or your SOFP lah. Alright. Now, what is marginal costing? Alright, so by definition, the accounting system in which variable costs are charged to unit costs, to cost units and fixed costs of the period are written off in full against the aggregate contribution. Okay, its special value or point in it is in recognizing cost behavior and hence assisting in decision making. Okay, marginal costing ataupun variable costing lah. Alright, where you know that variable costing, okay, variable cost, right, is relevant cost sebab dia adalah variable, meaning if you want to do something, you have to incur the variable because variable they will vary with the level of production. Alright, whereas fixed cost adalah constant cost. So most of the time fixed cost adalah irrelevant cost. So marginal costing, they treat variable cost sahaja kepada cost per unit you. And the fixed costs are treated as period cost. Where you know, kalau kita cakap sebagai period cost, that cost akan ditolak, okay, or be written off in full against the aggregate contribution. Maksudnya untuk that period, you akan tolak the total period cost for that period. Kemudian, however, the variable cost you need to charge for the you punya product. Marginal costing is a method of costing which identify cost according to behavior and only considers variable production cost to be related to the cost object. Okay, hanya variable cost sahaja dikira kepada cost object ataupun you punya product. Fixed production cost together with non-production cost, okay, fixed production cost together with non-production cost are treated as an expense accordingly. This method of costing relies on the identification of fixed and variable production costs. Okay, fixed production and non-production. Okay, non-production bermaksud period cost lah ya. Alright, macam selling cost, administration cost, okay, will be treated as expense. Alright, thus it is an accounting system in which variable costs are charged to the cost object and fixed costs of the period are written off in full against the profit for the period. Okay, hanya variable cost sahaja di-charge kepada you punya produk and all of the fixed cost, okay, fixed production and your non-production cost, fixed non-production cost will be treated as period cost. So therefore you akan tolak or written off for the period. Alright. So and then dia lagi ulang lagi, dia kata marginal costing values all inventory items at their variable production cost sahaja. Right, absorption costing tadi dia value inventory both variable and fixed. Okay, tapi production cost je lah. However, untuk marginal costing, they only use variable production cost. Right? The marginal cost of production, you have variable cost of production, okay, which is your direct material, direct labor, and variable production cost. And you have your variable selling cost, which is cost of administration, selling overhead, and distribution overhead. Okay, senang cerita semua yang variable. So all that will be charged to the product. Okay, marginal costing provides management information for planning and decision making. Supporters of marginal costing argue that management attention is concentrated on the more controllable measure of contribution. Okay, because variable cost is relevant cost, therefore dia adalah penting for decision making. Ini argument Ini adalah apa yang dikatakan dia punya justification, sebab argument nanti akan ada kat bahagian belakang lah. Alright. So management attention is concentrated on the more controllable measure of contribution, where you know contribution or contribution margin is the amount of your selling price, okay, or your sales minus with your variable costs. Alright. So in marginal costing, the variable cost per unit are matched against the sales value per unit for the period to highlight an important performance measure called contribution or contribution margin lah. Okay, so contribution margin per unit, and then you already know lah this one, selling price per unit tolak variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit is your variable production cost plus with your variable selling cost per unit. Alright, so it is called contribution. Kenapa dia panggil contribution? Because it literally does contribute towards fixed cost and profit. Okay, secara literally-nya dia adalah yang contribute towards fixed cost and profits. So once the contribution has been calculated for the period, fixed costs are deducted to determine the profit for the period. The contribution per unit is constant at all levels of output and sale, if there are no changes in the sales price or the variable cost per unit. Right? Right, constant kalau lah selling price dan variable cost per unit itu tiada perubahan. Okay, kalau ada perubahan, that is no longer constant lah, dia akan berubah. Okay, so contribution dia akan menentukan, dia akan kira dulu and then you akan tolak you punya fixed cost. Okay. Both marginal costing and absorption costing treat non-manufacturing overhead as period costs. Okay, non-manufacturing overhead as period cost. Betul lah, both marginal, okay, and your absorption, non-manufacturing cost kita treat as period cost, where you akan tolak for the period. Afterwards, baru you akan tolak. Alright. So you can see uses of marginal costing, okay, information for planning and decision making, for you to make a short run decision and for you to calculate break even and analysis. Okay, because again variable cost adalah relevant cost, okay. So dia penting untuk planning and decision making, whereas fixed cost you kena determine dululah. Calculation of stock and cost. Calculation of cost and stock valuation. Okay, alright. It is alternative to the absorption costing. So you boleh kira juga stock valuation. Alright. Alternative kalau guna absorption costing. Alright. Using marginal costing means that fixed costs are not absorbed into the cost of production and fixed costs are all period costs. Okay, ni by summary lah. Using marginal costing bermaksud fixed cost you tak absorbed into the cost of production. And kesemua fixed cost are treated as period cost. So you akan tolak for the period. Valuation for work in progress and finished goods is your prime cost, which is your direct material and your direct labor, and plus with your variable overhead or variable production overhead. Okay, itu adalah untuk stock valuation. Alright. So for example, last year 20,000 units of Z were produced and sold. The cost and revenues were, sales is 100,000. Okay, production cost variable is 35,000. Fixed is 15,000. And then sales and admin overhead, all fixed, is 25,000. So you nak prepare statement, operating statement based on absorption and marginal costing. Ni contoh je lah. So absorption tadi, okay, your statement you mesti start dengan sales, right? So your sales is 100,000 less with your production cost of sales. Okay, production cost of sales is 50,000. Okay, 50,000 is because production cost untuk absorb tadi dia ambil kira semua variable dan fixed. Okay, like I said tadi masa earlier, variable and fixed. So 35 plus 15 is 50,000. So absorption dia akan ambil kira semua production cost, both variable and fixed. So that's why dia tolak 50,000. And then you will get your gross profit, and then only you minus with your period cost, which is your sales and administration overhead of 25,000. So you get a net profit of 25,000. This is when you use absorption costing. Alright, when you use marginal costing, samalah, you have your sales 100,000, you less your marginal cost of sales, which is 35,000. 35,000 is the variable only. Okay, variable production cost is 35,000. Remember dia hanya ambil variable kan? So variable is 35,000. You will get a contribution, sales tolak variable cost is 65,000. And then baru dia less all the fixed costs. Okay, semua fixed cost dia treat sebagai period cost. So dia akan tolak kesemuanya for that period. So you have your production tadi 15,000, fixed production. Okay, mana tadi? Fixed production 15,000 and sales and admin overhead 25,000. So you will get a net profit of 25,000. Okay, using the same information for you to calculate your net profit, either using absorption or marginal, you will get the same net profit. Okay, however, that example itu tidak ada inventory. Okay, so inventory tidak ada. So bila tak ada inventory, so dia jadi supposed to be the profit will be the same lah. However, if you have inventory nanti, because of inventory different in stock valuation, okay, inventory valuation tu nanti your profit will not be the same. Okay, because cara you absorb the cost is different. Alright, so you akan ada stock valuation or inventory valuation, your ending inventory and your beginning inventory kat situ nanti. Alright, so that is example, simple example je, nak tunjuk format je sebenarnya. Okay, so how are we going to complete the profit statement? Alright, so they tell you kat sini, okay, steps to completing profit statement is for you to first prepare a production budget in units, okay, and then you will prepare a cost per unit, and then you will do profit statement or your income statement, and then you will do reconciliation. Okay, reconciliation hanya dibuat sekiranya you menggunakan both costing system. Maksudnya you buat both absorption and marginal. Okay, you buat both absorption and marginal costing, then you have to reconciliation. Kenapa reconciliation tadi? Like I said, supposed to be your net profit ini kena sama. Either you use your absorption or you use your marginal, your net profit should be the same. Okay, however, bila you ada inventory tu nanti, inventory stock valuation itu akan berbeza menyebabkan your net profit itu tidak sama. So, that's why you kena buat reconciliation. Okay, because inventory valuation tu nanti. Right? The reason for completing profit statement is due to inventory. Alright, so let's look into example 1. Alright, so example 1 on page 3. A firm manufactures and sell a single product. The selling price is 30 per unit and variable production cost are 8 per unit. Details for the month of September and October are as follows. So you ada untuk dua produk ini, dia kata multi-period tadi tu. Ya ke? Kan? Ni prepare multi-period statement. Alright. Ni pula soalan dia. Ni. September and October. So you have your production 750 units and 1000 units for September and October. Sales 600 units for September and 1150 units for October. Okay, the normal level of activity or budgeted activity for both sales and production is 900 units per month. Fixed production overhead are budgeted for 4,500 per month and are absorbed on a unit basis. That is the number of units produced. Okay, requirement is to prepare a profit statement for September and October based on absorption costing method. Alright, profit statement tu adalah income statement lah. Profit statement adalah yang step 3. So steps for completing ni tadi. Oh, salah. Alright. Profit statement adalah step nombor 3. So before you can do your profit statement, you need to buat production budget in units, cost per unit, and then you do profit statement. Kita tak akan buat conciliation lah sebab ini adalah example sahaja yang dia suruh buat hanyalah untuk absorption costing. Okay? Ada apa soalan setakat situ sebelum kita buat example?
Yes.
Oh, bisingnya. Ada? Tak ada? Masih berada di sini atau sudah hilang?
Masih.
Masih ada Alright. Gila submission ni. 2 patutlah buka. 26. Ini berapa bulan? 15. 26 bila? Okay. Patutlah pun. Sekejap sementara saya nak login lagi satu. Alright. Untuk kita buat kita punya profit statement. Apa tu? DUZ EWSG. NG. Okay, so we are going to do example. Example 1, right? To prepare, dia kata profit statement. Tapi kita akan follow the steps yang dia ajar tu lah. Because that is how the DBS ajar kita. So I will teach you how DBS used to do their question. Kita ikut cara dia lah. Alright, so step 1 dia kata production, to prepare a production budget in unit. Right? You nak buat production budget in units. Okay, so that is your step 1. You ada 2 bulan, so you have to calculate for both months lah, September and October. Okay, have to calculate for both September and October. Alright, menarik kan? Kena buat 2 bulan. Sebab tu dia kata sebagai multi period. We assume there is no beginning inventory lah for the first month. Alright. Okay. Lepas tu kita isilah tempat kosong. Berapa tolak kosong dapat 750? 750. Okay. Tambah berapa dapat 750? 150. Macam tu. Dia suruh isi tempat kosong katnya. Untuk Oktober, production units adalah 1000. Sales unit adalah 1150. Okay. Sales units adalah 1150. Beginning inventory untuk Oktober you should know. Ending inventory in September is the beginning inventory for October. Tu basic lah kan, dah tahu dah tu, right? So ending inventory for September is the beginning inventory for October. So 150. Maka kemudiannya kita kira lah semula secara isi tempat kosong. Okay. So berapa tolak 150 dapat 1000. So 1150. Tambah dengan kosong lah. 1150. Alright. Apa yang pernah kita buat. Okay. You have another calculation. Okay. Or another method of you to calculate your ending inventory is by calculating beginning inventory plus unit produced minus with your unit sold. Okay. For example, ending inventory untuk September, beginning inventory dia kita assume dia adalah kosong. Unit produce untuk September adalah 750 minus unit sold adalah 600. Alright, so ending inventory dia supposed to be 150. Ending inventory untuk Oktober lah, apa benda je macam ni. Oktober, same thing lah. Beginning inventory adalah ending inventory untuk September which is 150 plus dengan unit produce adalah 1000 minus unit sold 1150. So ending inventory untuk Oktober adalah 0. Alright. Tulisan merah adalah apa yang saya ajar. Tulisan biru tu yang untuk ni untuk step 1 yang tulisan merah adalah apa yang saya ajar. Yang tulisan biru itu adalah apa yang DBS tunjuk. Okay. So nanti jangan cakap saya tak ajar pula apa yang DBS tunjuk. Alright. So that is step 1 dia. Dia kata production budget in units. Okay. Step 2 is to calculate cost per unit. Alright. So itu adalah step 2. To calculate your cost per unit. Alright. Cost per unit. Cost per unit untuk absorption is your variable production cost plus with your fixed production overhead. Okay. For your absorption costing right. So your variable consists of your direct material, direct labor, variable production overhead and fixed production overhead. Okay, variable adalah direct material, direct labor and variable production adalah variable. Fixed production adalah fixed lah. Okay. Right, so your question cari sampai esok pun direct material, direct labor tu tak ada. Okay, bukan tak ada. Dia bagi variable production cost 8 per unit. Okay, nampak perkataan tu dekat first paragraph. Variable production cost 8 per unit. Variable production cost tadi dalam slide tu tadi is your direct material plus direct labor plus with your variable production overhead. Ni dia bagi sekali, mungkin untuk menjimatkan masa contohnya. Okay, so all these three digabungkan sekali sebagai 8. And fixed production overhead adalah 4,500 per month. Okay, they gave you 4,500 per month. Dah kata tadi nak kira rate is the budgeted overhead divided with the budgeted activity or the budgeted production. Alright. Budgeted production is 900. Okay. The normal level of activity or budgeted activity for both sales and production is 900 unit per month. So that is the budgeted lah activity dia. Alright, so 4,500 divided by 900 you get 5. Okay, so total production cost or cost per unit for absorption costing is 13 euro. Mana pergi? Sini pergi. Okay, so that is the cost per unit you. Alright. So first adalah production budget in unit and then kira cost per unit. Okay. And then only dia kata step 3 is to do profit statement. That is your income statement. Alright. Profit statement or your income statement. Alright. So this is where you are going to do your income statement for your absorption. Ni untuk absorption costing lah. Alright. So you ada 2 bulan multi period kan dia kata. So 2 bulan lah, September and Oktober kita akan buat dalam satu statement saja. Alright, cuma you akan buat pecah kolom lah. Satu kolom untuk September dan satu lagi adalah untuk Oktober. Kita akan buat macam tu. Okay. Tak payahlah buat statement tu banyak kali. Alright. So satu kolom September and satu kolom Oktober, September. Masih jauh sangat aku tulis lah. Ini sikit lah. Alright, so kita akan buat satu untuk September and satu untuk Oktober. Kita akan buat September dululah. Okay, income statement untuk okay, so kita akan start kita punya statement standard lah, income statement. Kita akan start dengan sales. Okay, we will start with our sales. So startlah dengan sales. Sales untuk September adalah sales unit dia adalah 600 unit. Okay, you can refer back to the step 1. Okay, itu function dia suruh buat sales unit, ending inventory, beginning inventory, production units tu sebab dia nak tahu berapa unit tu kat situ. Untuk for you to do the income statement tu nanti. So sales unit for September is 600 units. Alright. So kita akan buat 600 unit. Okay, 600 units. The selling price is 30. Alright. So 600 times 30, you will get 18,000. So aku dah tukar warna biru ke. Okay. 18,000. Alright. And then you will less with your cost of goods sold. Okay, you will less with your cost of goods sold. Right? Your cost of goods sold will start with your beginning inventory. Okay, beginning inventory. Kita akan buat September dulu Beginning inventory for September adalah kosong. Okay, based on your step 1 tadi, beginning inventory untuk September adalah kosong. Kosong lah. Okay, you will add with cost of goods manufactured. Cost of goods manufactured, your unit produced for September or your units manufactured. Busynya. Right, your production units for September is 750. Okay. So 750 darab dengan you punya cost per unit tadi 13. Dekat step tu 13 kan? 13. Okay, times with 13. So you get 19, bukan. 9750. Kurang azan berhenti jap Alright. Sambung Apa tadi? Tengah buat. Cost of goods. Cost of goods manufactured. Okay. Unit produced which is 750. And then times with 13. So you get 9750. So you add with your beginning inventory of 0. Same figure lah, 9750. This is your goods available for sales. Okay. And then you akan minus with your ending inventory. Right. Ending inventory. Ending inventory untuk September tadi, ending inventory dia adalah 150 unit. Okay, you boleh check sebelah lah. Ending inventory untuk September is 150 units. Right, so 150 units times with 13 lah. Okay, so you will get 1950 minus lah. So 9750 minus 1950, you akan dapat 7,000. Hey, mana kau pergi? Oh, tak boleh pakai touch, lupa. You will get 7,800. 7,800 is your cost of good sold. Tolak dengan sales 18,000. Alright, minus with your sales 18,000, you will get 10,200. This one is your gross margin. Right, because this is absorption costing, so it is called as gross margin. Variable costing nanti dia akan dipanggil sebagai contribution margin. Okay, and then only kita akan less with our period cost. Okay, ataupun kita akan less with our selling and admin expenses lah. Okay, less with your selling and admin expenses. Okay, so you have lah dalam tu, contohnya you ada fixed selling, you ada fixed admin. Tapi dalam example you tak ada sebenarnya. Okay, example you tak ada, jangan cari pula yang tak ada, bagi contoh je. Kalau ada, you akan tolak lah. Fixed selling, fixed admin, kan tu, tolak kat sini. Okay, you edit lah, jangan cari pula. Alright, because kita nak tunjuk je lah. Alright, so we assume tak ada, kita letak kosong. Alright, so kosong. Tolak dengan kosong. So 10,200. Okay. Alright, 10,200. Under normal circumstances, this is your net income or net operating income or net income lah kat situ. Okay. However, alright, tadi, okay, I have mentioned to you for your absorption costing, mana itu, where actual production level is not equal to the normal capacity, there will be under or over absorbed fixed production overheads. Okay, where actual production level is not equal to the normal capacity. Okay, so you akan ada over and under absorb. These two parts ini you kena absorb, kena buat adjustment dalam you punya income statement. Alright, so over or under absorb, under or over absorb you. Okay, so macam mana kita nak kira under or over absorb. Alright, I show you under, okay, under or over absorption. Okay, under or over absorption is your production units darab dengan you punya fixed production overhead. Okay, production units darab dengan your fixed production overhead. Right, so dia kata tadi kalau tidak actual, tidak sama dengan you punya normal capacity. Okay, you ada 2 bulan, so kita akan buat untuk 2 bulan lah, September and October. buat September dulu. Alright. So your normal capacity you, okay, normal capacity production you adalah 900 units. Okay, the normal level of activity or budgeted activity for both sales and production is 900 units per month. So 900 units. Fixed production overhead tadi berapa? 5 Ini 5. This one. Ni you punya fixed production overhead. 5. Okay. So you akan darab dengan 5. So you akan dapat 4,500. 9 kali 45 kan. Okay. Tu normal you. Actual production you untuk bulan September tadi adalah 750 unit. Tu actual production you Alright. 750. Cairlah lah kan. Kan dah tulis kat sini. Production you 750 untuk September. Tu actual production you. Okay. So 750. So you akan darab dengan 5. So you get 3750. Alright. So you just minus, you will get 750. Okay. So you akan dapat 750. Alright. So what you do is that you want to compare your actual with your normal or your budgeted. So your actual is 3,000, your normal is 4,000. So your actual is less than your normal. Okay. Your actual is less than your normal. So 750 adalah under absorb lah. Okay. So this one is under absorb. Right. Bila under absorb, kita akan tolak. Alright. So we will minus if it is under absorb. Okay. Minus kat sini. Okay. Kita tengok bulan Oktober. Kita buat sekali je sebab kalau nak buat statement tu sekali je. Tak susah dah. Untuk bulan Oktober. Okay. Normal capacity you samalah kan. 900 darab dengan 5. So 4,500. Actual production untuk September adalah 1,000 unit. Okay. Production untuk Oktober. Production for October is 1,000 units times with 5. You will get 5,000. Alright. So you have a difference of 500. Okay. Difference of 500. So your actual is 5,000. Your normal is 4,005. So your actual is more than your normal. So ini adalah over absorb. Alright. Bila over absorb, kita akan tambah. Okay. So in case of September ni tadi, dah dapat 10,200. Okay, this is not your net income. Alright, because you kena adjustment dengan you punya over, under or over absorption. Under or over absorption. Alright, September tadi under absorption. Under absorption kita akan tolak lah. Okay. Berapa tadi? Tolak 750. Alright. So you will get 9,450. So this is your net income. Okay. Kena buat adjustment dengan you punya over and under absorb you. Alright. So that is for your September. Okay. Dan boleh buat untuk Oktober lah, same thing je lah. Buat untuk Oktober. Sales untuk Oktober adalah 1150. Selling price adalah 30. So you akan dapat 34,500. Beginning inventory. Okay. Beginning inventory. Ending inventory untuk September adalah beginning inventory untuk October. Remember that. Okay. Betul ke tu? Ending inventory untuk September is the beginning inventory untuk October. So beginning inventory you 1950. Okay. Cost of good manufactured, unit produced in October adalah 1000 unit. Cost per unit adalah 13. 13 kan? So you akan dapat 13,000. Tambah je lah. So you can dapat goods available for sale is 14,950. Alright. Minus with your ending inventory. Ending inventory untuk Oktober adalah tidak ada. Ending inventory Oktober kosong. So kosong lah. Okay. Kosong. Kosong lah. Alright. So your cost pula. Cost of goods sold you adalah 14,950. Tolak dengan sales 34,500, your gross margin will be 19,550. Okay. Ni tak cantik sebab figure ni tak ada. Right. Kalau ada, then okay lah kot. Macam tu. Okay. Fixed selling, fixed admin, assumption kita tidak ada dalam contoh ni, tak ada. So kosong lah. So you get 19,550. Alright, you have to make adjustment with your over or under absorb. Untuk Oktober tadi adalah over absorb. Over absorb you kena tambah. Okay, so you kena tambah 500. Alright. So you will get your net income of 20,050 untuk bulan apa tu? Oktober. Macam tu. Okay. Adjustment untuk over or under absorb hanya untuk absorption costing tau. Jangan pergi buat kat variable costing pula. Right. Adjustment for over or under absorption. Okay, before you arrive at your net income is only in your absorption costing. Okay, under variable costing tidak ada, dia terus dapat you punya net income lah lepas you tolak you punya apa tu tadi, period cost you. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
Tak tahulah korang ni ada ke tak ada ke.
Okay, Miss. Ada, Miss.
Ada, Miss.
Ada, Miss.
Masih ada.
Tak ke? Wow, alah bisawab. Alright. Silalah masih bernyawa sebab kita nak continue dengan example 2. Okay? Example 2. Alright, I give you 5 minutes lah, 5 minutes. Sementara saya panggil untuk attendant tu jap. Kita nak buat example 2. Okay. Kutlah nak minum air ke. Kau bulan ini 15. Empat. Aina Maisarah. Irish Hans. Hafizah.
Saya, madam.
Saya.
Siapa tu?
Iris.
Irish.
Ha.
Siapa yang saya lagi seorang tadi tu?
Aina kot.
Aina Maisara, Miss.
Okay. Anis Izzatul Arifah.
Saya.
Atikah? Atikah Nur?
Saya.
Yang type tu Atikah Nur. Yang saya tu Atikah. Ui, orang ini. Oh, Atikah, okey. Azlia.
Saya, Miss.
Farisha Idayu.
Farisha Idayu, Miss.
Izzah Azrina. Muhammad Huzaifah.
Saya Muhammad Huzaifah.
Muhammad Ababa.
Saya Miss.
Muhammad Azrul Afiq. Muhammad Nur Aiman.
Saya Miss.
Nazatul Arisa.
Okay, saya Nazita Arisa, Miss.
Nur Eza Hamizah.
Saya.
Nur Sheila. Nur Ain Syafiqah.
Nur Ain Syafiqah.
Oh, I buat apa tu dalam air ke? Sheila.
Kipas, Miss.
Main kipas ke? Nur Akilah.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Atirah.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Yasmin Sari.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Zaida Azwin.
Saya,
Nur Diana.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Farina.
Saya, Miss.
Nurul Najihah.
Saya, Miss.
Raihana. Rashidah.
Saya, Miss.
Aku dah panggil nama depan je. Saidatul Hafizah. Syahidatul Hafizah, sorry.
Saya, Miss.
Siti Izalina.
Saya, Miss.
Alia Syahidah.
Saya, Miss.
Amirul.
Saya Miss.
Amarul Azam.
Saya Miss.
Muhammad Adha. Hilang dah dia. Habislah. Dia pergi dating ni.
Ada. Sorry.
Pergi dating ke?
Tak ada, semua boleh keluar.
Muhammad Aiman.
Saya Miss.
Muhammad Almuaz.
Saya Miss.
Muhammad Amirul Farhan.
Saya Miss.
Muhammad Amirul Irfan.
Saya Miss.
Muhammad Ushair Rafiki.
Saya Miss.
Muhammad Zalan.
Saya Miss.
Oh, Nur Azidah Atika.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Aida Akilah.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Ainin Sofia.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Aisyah Hasanah.
Saya, Aisyah.
Nur Atirah.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Farzana Naili.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Fatihah Najihah.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Hanis.
Hanis, Miss.
Nur Kasih.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Syakirah.
Saya, Miss.
Nurina Rashikah. Nur Nabilah.
Saya, Miss.
Nur Syuhana.
Saya, Miss.
Nurul Farhanah.
Farhana tak ada,
Siti
Miss.
Nur Farhanah. Tak ada. Siti Nur Farah Hanum.
Saya, Miss.
Maira Hanani.
Maira, Miss.
Ummu Nafisah.
Ummu, Miss.
Okay. Dah baca soalan 2? Example 2 soalan 2 jangan. Okay. Siapa tu? Siapa yang naik chat tu? Dia ajak kita chat-chat pula. Izzah. Panggil ke? Izzah. Muhammad Azrul Afiq. Okay. Alright. So example 2, using the following information, prepare profit statement for June and July using marginal costing. A company produces and sells one product only, which sells for 50 per unit. There were no inventory at the end of May, and other information is as follows. We have your direct material 18, direct wages 4, variable production overhead 3, budgeted and actual cost per month, fixed production overhead 99,000, fixed selling expenses is 14,000, fixed administration expenses 26,000. Variable selling expenses is 10% of sales value. So your production and sales, normal capacity is 11,000 units per month. Number of units produced and sold, sales in June is 12,800 and July 11,000. Production for June is 14,000 and July is 10,200. Using the following information, prepare profit statement for June and July using marginal costing. Alright, same thing sahajalah. Kita akan buat step 1, step 2 dan step 3. Alright, cumanya kita akan buat menggunakan variable costing. Alright. Okay. So kita akan buat step 1 is to prepare production budget in units. Alright. Bukan, mana ni, draw. So your step 1 is to prepare production budget in units. So dia ada 2 bulan, maka 2 lah juga kita kena buat. Alright. Okay, so kita akan buat untuk Jun dan Julai. Jun and Julai. Okay. Untuk Jun. Untuk Jun dan Julai. Okay, so you have your sales units plus with your ending inventory. Okay, ni format dia. Okay, dapat berapa tah nanti, berapa figure kita akan tolak dengan beginning inventory, tolak. And then kita akan dapat kita punya production units. Right, untuk Jun sales dia 12,800, production dia 14,000. Beginning inventory, I think dia kata tak ada. There were no inventory at the end of May. Okay, ending inventory of May akan jadi beginning inventory untuk Jun. So dia kata tak ada, so beginning inventory adalah kosong. So this one should be 14,000. So you should add up dengan 1,200 lah. Macam tu. Tempat kosong kan? Kita isilah tempat kosong yang ada. Untuk Julai, sales adalah 11,000. Production adalah 10,200. Alright. Ending Jun akan jadi beginning Julai. Ending Jun akan jadi beginning Julai. So 1,200. Oi, conting pula dah. Okay. 1,200. Alright. So 11,400 minus 1,200 dapat ini. So yang ni akan jadi 400. Dikurang lah. Ending inventory untuk Jun. Same thing lah ni. Beginning inventory plus unit produce minus unit sold. Beginning inventory untuk Jun adalah kosong. Unit produce dia 14,000. Unit sold adalah 12,400. So akan dapat 1,200. Ending inventory untuk Julai, same thing. Beginning inventory dia adalah 1,200 plus unit produce adalah 10,200 minus unit sold 11,000. Mana datang 11,400. Ending inventory dia adalah 400. Saja je tunjuk dulu. Okay. Production units, right? Step 2 adalah cost per unit. Okay. Step 2 adalah cost per unit. Alright. Marginal costing dia hanya ambil kira variable cost sahaja. Right? Hanya ambil kira variable cost sahaja. Okay. So your variable cost is your direct material, direct labor and variable production overhead. Direct material dia 18. Direct labor dia, direct wages adalah 4. Variable production overhead adalah 3. So total you adalah 25. Okay. So, kita akan buat apa tadi tu nama dia? Profit statement. Profit statement. So, you are going to prepare an income statement under marginal costing. Okay, 2 bulan, so 2 lah. Right, sama macam tadi lah kita buat kolom je. Okay. Kita akan buat bentuk kolom sahaja. Right, so untuk Julai. And untuk Jun. Alright. So kita akan buat statement. Profit statement. Sama je lah. Kita akan start dengan sales. Yang berbeza adalah kita punya format lah. Sikit format kita akan berbeza. So sales kita akan buat Jun dululah. Sales untuk Jun adalah 12,000. 12,800. Selling price dia berapa? 50. Okay. So you akan dapat 640. And then you akan less with your, because this is marginal costing. So you nak calculate contribution kan tadi? So kita akan minus dengan variable expenses. Okay. So start dengan beginning inventory. Beginning inventory untuk Jun tidak ada. Kosong lah. Right? Untuk Jun tak ada kan tadi? Tak ada. Tu kan tak ada. Ini inventory tak ada. Okay. And then you akan add with your variable cost of goods manufactured. Okay. Variable cost of goods manufactured. Unit produce adalah untuk Jun, unit produce adalah 14,000. Alright. So 14,000. Cost per unit tadi, tiba dah lupa, 25 25 cost per unit. Okay, 25. So 14,000 times 25, you get 350,000. So 0 plus 350, you get 350. This is called as goods available for sale. Okay. Lepas tu kita akan tolak dengan ending inventory. Ending inventory untuk Jun tadi 1,200. Ending inventory untuk Jun 1,200. Alright. So 1,200 times with 25. Okay. 1,200 times 25, you get 30,000. Tolak lah. So 350 minus 330,000, you get 320,000. This is called as variable cost of goods sold. Okay. Alright. And then because this is variable cost dulu semua, so kita akan tambah dengan you punya variable selling. Variable selling expenses is 10% of sales value. Okay. Variable selling expenses is 10% of sales value. So 10% daripada 640,000. Alright. 10% daripada 640,000 adalah 64,000. Okay. Tambah So 320 campur 64, you dapat 384. Tolak variable expenses. So 640 tolak 384, dia adalah 256. Yang ini kita panggil sebagai contribution margin. Okay, contribution margin. Alright, and then kita baru tolak dengan kita punya fixed expenses kita lah. Okay. Fixed expenses. Ikutlah. Kita ada fixed production overhead. Okay. Fixed production overhead is 99,000. And then kita ada fixed selling expenses. 14,000. Lepas tu kita ada fixed administration expenses. Fixed admin expenses which is 26,000. Okay, total ini adalah 139. Alright. 99 campur 14 campur 26 adalah 139. Tolak dengan contribution margin 256,000, you akan dapat 117. This is your net income. Net profit, net income. Tadi saya sebut net profit ke net income lah dekat tu. Dekat example tadi. Samalah tu net income, net profit tu. Okay. Tak biasa pula pakai net income. Alright. So that is your statement for apa ni? Bulan apa ni? Jun. Okay. Then you proceed with bulan Julai. Sama je lah. Sales untuk bulan Julai adalah 1150, direct selling price 50. So you dapat 550. Okay. Beginning inventory. Right. Ending inventory untuk Jun. Okay. Ending inventory untuk Jun adalah beginning inventory untuk
Miss,
Julai. Kenapa?
sales bukan 11,000 ke?
Lah. Salah tulis. Tapi value dia 550 kan? Manalah aku dapat 1150 tu agaknya. Tak tahu dah. Sorry. 11,000 darab dengan 50. You dapat 550. 550 tu betul? Betul. Okay. Taman mana dah pandang kat ni? Oh, pandang soalan yang kat atas. Okay. Ending inventory untuk Jun is your beginning inventory untuk Julai. So you just take lah the 30,000. Right. 30,000. Variable cost of good manufactured, unit produce untuk Julai 10,200 darab dengan 25. Okay, so you will get 255. Okay. So tambah dengan 30,000 you akan dapat 285. Okay. Minus ending inventory untuk Julai. Ending inventory untuk Julai 400. Alright. So 400 kali dengan 25. 400 kali 25. 10,000. Okay. So you akan dapat 275. 275,000 plus dengan variable selling tu tadi adalah 10% of your sales value. So 10% daripada sales value kita adalah 550. 55,000. Alright. So 275 campur 55 adalah 330. Tolak dengan you punya sales 550. So you akan dapat contribution margin 220. Alright. Fixed expenses you samalah. Tidak ada sebarang perubahan sebab fix kan. So fixed production overhead is 99,000. Fixed selling is 14,000. Fixed admin is 26,000. So you have 13,000. So tolak dengan 220, you akan dapat 81,000. So your net income or your net profit untuk Julai adalah 81,000. Alright. Itu untuk you punya income statement. Okay. Jangan kira under over absorb tu tak ada dekat variable, dekat marginal costing tak ada. Kita minggu berapa minggu ni? 20 kan? Kita week 20 kan?
Ya.
Week 20, week 21. Lepas tu week 20. Oh. Bulan 3 you ada guest lecture, dah tahu kan? Bulan 3 untuk subjek ni.
Ada apa
Tak
main?
tahu. Bulan 3 subjek ni you akan belajar dengan guest lecture. Michael kot. Bulan 3.
Bulan 3. Online lah. ODL lah.
Dengan Michael. Sama je lah, dia akan buat macam ni jugalah. Dengan guest lecture. Michael. Oh, tak nak pusing ni. Alright. Okay. So that is you punya method untuk calculation of profit statement of using absorption costing and marginal costing. Saya nak sebut variable je. Okay, marginal. Biasakan diri menyebut marginal. Alright, absorption costing and marginal costing. Okay. Tapi itu soalan lain-lain. Biasanya soalan you dia akan both of the method dalam satu soal, dalam soalan yang samalah. And then baru you boleh buat the step 4, that is the reconciliation. Okay. Kalau you buat the both methods at the same time, and then baru you boleh buat reconciliation tu nanti. Alright. So, okay, mana tu tadi? Mana minit? Alright. So that is on the calculation untuk yang method dia. Okay. Page berapa? Page 3. Alright. So I'm going to kita nak habiskan sikit lagi on the theory part, which is the arguments in favor of absorption costing and arguments in favor of marginal costing. Yang itu notes you muka surat 4. Okay. Tadi example 1, example 2. Right. So first we have our conclusion. Okay, the profit per unit varies at differing levels differing levels of sales because the average fixed overhead cost per unit changes with the volume of output and sales. Okay. Average fixed overhead cost per unit change. Alright. However, kita tak nampak lagi kat sini sebabnya you tak buat lagi satu soalan dengan benda yang samalah, dengan information yang sama. Right? Contribution per unit is constant at all level of output and sales. Total contribution, which is the contribution per unit multiplied by the number of units, so increases in direct proportion to the volume of sales. Therefore, it follows that by selling an extra unit, the following will happen. Revenue will increase by the sales value of the item sold and cost will increase only by the variable cost per unit. Okay. Revenue akan meningkat dengan sales value, dengan berapa banyak jumlah unit yang kita jual. Cost akan meningkat hanyalah pada variable cost sebab dia punya nature adalah variable. Alright. So your arguments in favor of absorption costing, kenapa orang suka pakai absorption costing, is fixed production costs are incurred in order to make output. Therefore, it is fair to charge all output with a share of this cost. Okay. Dan nama pun production cost. Okay. Bezanya dia hanyalah fixed cost, fixed production cost. Tapi dia still production cost walaupun dia fixed. Jadi it is fair lah untuk kita charge juga cost ini kepada kita punya output sebab dia masih production cost. Right? Closing inventory values by including a share of fixed production overhead will be valued on the principle required for the financial accounting valuation for inventory. Actually financial accounting punya inventory valuation, okay, your closing inventory itu mestilah dikira sekali dengan fixed production overhead. Itu dia requirement by your punya financial accounting, valuation of inventory. Alright. And a problem with calculating the contribution of various products made by a company is that it may not be clear whether the contribution earned by each product is enough to cover fixed costs. Whereas by charging fixed overhead to a product, we can decide whether it is profitable or not. Okay. Bila kita calculate contribution tu tadi, marginal tu kan, kita kira contribution. Alright. So kita tak tahu pun whether contribution yang kita earn tu, dia enough tak untuk cover kita punya fixed cost. Sebab kita kira dulu contribution and then baru kita tolak ke semua fixed cost dan kat kita punya period, kira as a period cost. So kita tak tahu pun dia boleh cover atau tak. So daripada itu, baiklah kita absorb je kita punya fixed production overhead and then kita boleh decide sama ada that product is whether dia adalah profitable ataupun tidak. Okay. So itu arguments in favor of absorption costing. However, in favor of marginal costing, right, fixed cost will be the same. Yalah, dia adalah constant cost regardless of the volume of output because they are period cost. Sebab apa? Sebab dia adalah period cost. Okay, it makes sense therefore to charge them in full at the cost to the period. Betul juga sebab dia adalah period cost. Jadi charge je lah semuanya kepada kita punya that period lah. Okay. The cost to produce an extra unit is the variable production cost. It is realistic to value closing inventory item at this directly attributable cost. Alright. Cost untuk produce satu extra unit adalah variable cost sebab itu yang relevan. Jadi realistiknya kalau kita nak value kita punya closing inventory, kita kira kita punya variable cost je lah. Okay, sebab fixed cost tu tak terkira pun. Kalau sebab dia constant. So kalau produce one unit of product, variable cost dia adalah 25. Kalau kita produce lagi satu unit pun kita akan incur 25. Kita akan extra lagi 25. Fixed cost tu akan tetap kat situ. So Kenapa kita nak kira pakai fixed cost? Sedangkan yang attributable directly to the product adalah variable cost. Alright, the size of total contribution varies directly with sales volume at a constant rate per unit. For management purposes, better information about expected profit is obtained from the use of variable cost and contribution in the accounting period. Alright, size of total contribution directly with the sales volume lah. Betul lah tu, tadi kan contribution is sales tolak you punya variable cost. So untuk management purposes, like I said, variable cost adalah relevant. All variable costs are relevant cost. So bila nak buat decision, yang penting adalah variable cost kat situ. Okay, itu daripada management punya segi lah. Alright, to the accounting period. So itu arguments kalau kita kata kenapa marginal costing is better than you punya absorption costing. And argument kenapa absorption tu lebih better. Actually, whether your company want to use variable or absorption, tak ada masalah dalam you punya management accounting. Alright, sebab remember management accounting dia tidak terikat dengan the gap principle. So you want to use your variable punya, you want to use your marginal costing statement or you want to use your absorption costing statement, it doesn't matter. Itu depends on the company. Alright, because yang beza adalah nanti dekat stock valuation tu sahaja. Right? Okay. Okay. Masih ada?
Okay, Miss.
Okay, Miss.
Okay,
Miss.
Maklumlah. Tak pernah kelas dekat pukul 6 tak habis-habis lagi. Actually untuk chapter yang 9 ni, dia bagi seminggu lain-lain topik tau. So minggu ni kita ACMC, minggu depan kita JOC. Okay, minggu lagi satu tu proses, lepas tu minggu lagi satu tu batch costing, and then the other one adalah process costing. So dia lain-lain topik. Dia bukan satu ni je. So this week kita hanya cover untuk ACMC. Alright, so next week kita akan masuk topik lain. So that's why dia kenalah mengikutlah flow-nya. Okay? So that is on your absorption costing and your marginal costing. Alright, so your as your job, okay, your job adalah saya minta untuk you buat soalan 2, question 2. Okay, on company X. Okay, question 2 page 6. On company X, okay, they ask you to prepare the following profit statement for marginal costing and absorption costing. So itu adalah step 1, step 2 dan step 3. And then dia nanti disuruh reconcile. Reconcile tu nanti saya belum tunjuk macam mana nak buat reconciliation. Alright, so nanti kita akan buat reconciliation lah. Jadi complete lah all the profit statement tu. Alright, so you do that question 2. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, Miss.
Alright.
Miss.
Kenapa nak tanya apa? Okay. So